Hi everyone, thanks for joining. We will be starting in exactly 1 minute. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. Before we get started, if you'd like to ask a question at any point during the webinar, you can enter it in the webinar control panel. We'll then answer all your questions at the end of the webinar. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Marco.
Thank you, Tom. Hello, my name is Marco Nanninga, working for ATS based in the Netherlands. And this webinar, I'll be showing you the benefits of transferring from a paper-based inspection system to ATS Inspect. And we'll be doing that first by showing you the benefits of using our system. And then we'll do a live demo of the system as well. If anybody has any questions, you can type them in the chat. Halfway the webinar, I'll respond to the first questions, and then at the end, we'll be responding to the other questions that have been asked. So without further ado, let's get started. And there we go. So just as a reminder for everybody, I'm sure everybody has seen this, knows it. The cost of poor quality, and the section of this nice iceberg where Inspect comes in is the scrap, waste, scrap, and rework. So we can help you with getting a lot more insight in this section of the direct cost, and we can help with the analysis of the warranty claims that have been filed. And by increasing the quality, hopefully we can also impact the indirect cost. And I'm sure we can do that. We already do for our existing customers. So one of those existing customers is Toyota. They had a couple of challenges for us. They wanted to record every single defect that happened in the manufacturing process. When using a paper-based system, the operators simply did not have the times and means to record all of the defects found. They wanted us to provide actionable KPI reporting to the shop floor and management, to add full traceability of every unit, and to, in the end, improve the first time right or straight through ratio. So Toyota is one of the few customers of us that has shared real quality data that we can use publicly. Of course, most manufacturers don't want to show data like this, but they've been very kindly and shared this with us. So we can show here what the effect is of going from a paper-based system, where we have some data here, where we can see that they were entering 220, 300 defects a month on the shop floor. They started implementing ATS Inspect in May, and already after 1 month, they were up to 16,000 defects. It doesn't mean that they were creating more defects on the shop floor, but they were actually capable of capturing all those defects in the system. And what you can see here is sort of a time span of almost 2 years, where they constantly increased the implementation size of Inspect. So whenever you see a new increase of defects, that means that either they have added more inspection stations on more areas, or they've added more detail to the the inspection process, basically asking more questions or providing more inspection images to the operators. And if we continue the upward trends, it actually comes up to about 35,000, where in less than 2 years, they were down to 3,500 defects. So here it states it's a 70% decrease from the maximum, but it's really more a 90% decrease in average defects per month. They've gone fully paperless by then. They needed less resources, and another really big benefit, of course, is that all of the information is available in the digital system, so it's real-time information in the reporting and alarming. How we do that in Inspect is we, in the administration modules, we define how the operator should do the inspection. The definition is very flexible. It can look at, for example, how a product has been ordered and only show relevant inspections and questions. For example, taking the example of a car again, if a car has been ordered with a sunroof, we can show images of the roof with the hole for a sunroof and applicable questions. So here we define the whole inspection process. Then the operator on the shop floor measures, he or she does the inspection. They enter all the defects that they find, all the traceability information that is required. Then the reports, we ship Inspect with about 80 reports out of the box that can be used to actually use the data, to analyze the data, and to find the root causes of the issues. Based on that information, there can be improvements made on the shop floor in the assembly process, maybe in the machines that are being used, maybe a combination, and then control, monitor, and report. And then from there, it's basically a continuous loop of improvement, as we've seen in the trend from Toyota, where there is a constant increase of defects found, meaning that they increase the inspection scope. So to get to the actual topic of this webinar, going from a paper-based system to a digital system, the business benefits that we see and have experienced by going to a digital system from a paper-based system is that both the checklist and visual inspections can be done fully digitally, so there is no paper-based inspection needed anymore. As a result, all of the results are visible instantly. There is no more digital transcription required. We can additionally show digital spec sheets and manuals on the operator screen, and those can be linked to products, to specific parts, to specific defects, repairs, and questions. So we can really help the operator to have helpful information at the reach of a fingertip, really, and get the help that they need to do their work as efficiently as possible. An additional benefit of having all that digitally is, of course, that there are no more outdated paper-based inspection and specification sheets or manuals on the shop floor. It's all in the system. If a spec sheet or a manual is updated in the system, it's updated automatically on all of the operator stations as well. It's a reduction of resources, of paper, printing, and storage cost. An additional benefit as well is that there is no more a need of a person entering the data, so a reduction in the chance of human error there, a reduction of chance of losing information. It's all stored in a database. The database is always backed up, of course, so as long as there is a backup, the data is safe. And in the end, quite important in this day and age, it reduces your ecological footprints. No more paper, so let's save the trees. Then, since we are talking now about a digital system where all the data is available, we can build and use all sorts of reports. As an additional benefit, at least of our system, is that we capture the exact location of the defect. So based on the inspection done, if it's done on a picture, on a 2D image, we have the XY location. If they do the inspection on the shop floor using CAD images, we have the XYZ location, and we can map that exactly on the image, on the view, as is used in the inspection. And we can create a heat map like this, where you can see really quickly where, relative for this part, most of the defects are being caused, and basically where you are losing most of the money. The live reports then allow you to drill down on, for example, this field and get all of the information about these 7 defects. But this is just one example of the reports. We have all sorts of trends and graph reports. So in the end, those reports will help you to do a proper root cause analysis to compare, for example, different assembly lines that create similar products, or a day and a night shift, and see what needs to be done to improve the quality of the least performing one. Then again, since the data is in the digital system, we can actually act on the data entered in the system by the operator right away. So as soon as for example, a critical issue is found, we can send out an event, maybe by email, or we can integrate with an existing system. Maybe you want to light a traffic light, that's all possible. Or maybe you want to show the information on the large screen, on an end-on screen on the shop floor, and for example, show the relevant information for the prior shift. Show the top 10 defects found, for example, so that the next shift knows what to look for and what has to be improved. And in the end, that is all to improve the right first time, or the first time quality. So one of the possibilities that we have to support you in that is that we can automatically create a CAP, cause action prevention, to look at critical problems and to support you in the root cause analysis, and make sure that similar defects do not happen again. And in the end, by increasing your quality, it's of course to reduce the cost. By having less defects, it means less rework, less scrap, less people doing repairs and doing re-inspections. And in the end, of course, all we want is a happy customer, happy end customer of you. So to expand on that, for now, or up till now, we've been talking about sort of transferring from a paper-based system to a digital system. So what we can do as well is we can integrate with all sorts of test equipment. We have an integration tool developed in-house called ATS Bus that can integrate with well, almost any digital system. So if you have digital systems on the shop floor that already provide quality data, then we can most likely integrate with that and use that data in Inspect to show it in the Inspect reports and support the analysis. And here is a screenshot of a spec check as it's being referenced by the customer. That's one of the things that we can do with the quality control for mass customization. So talking about cars or complex products, usually customers can order those products with all sorts of options. For example, here they can order 3 multimedia options. Our system knows by integrating with the ERP system how the car was ordered. The operator looks at the car, looks at the screen. He chooses the answer as he sees the car, and we do a validation if that is actually how that car was ordered. And if not, then we can raise a validation and even automatically create a defect in the system so that we are sure that the issue is resolved before the car leaves the factory. And another big benefit is the go no-go points, or gatekeeper stations, as we call them in the software. What we see mostly is that this is done initially at the end of the line before the units go to a shipping station, where a final check is done automatically by integrating with a conveyor belt system here. That we check if there are no open defects, if there are no questions that have been asked to the operator in the system that should have been answered but are not answered, or have a wrong answer. And if any of those checks fails, then the car will not be allowed to go to the shipping area, but it will go to a reinspection or a rework area. And the same criteria can be done on multiple stages of the assembly process. So, for example, if the car goes from paint to assembly, we can do a similar check to ensure that there are no open paint issues, and that not a lot of work is done on a vehicle that has a known paint issue. So to support you with that, we have a extensive set of reports. As I said, we ship Inspect with about 80 reports, all sorts of reports. We have the heat map style reports. We have trends. We have just the tables of data, graphs, and a lot of the reports allow you to actually drill down on a specific set of data and get a lot more detail about that specific issue or that specific question. So as you can see here, everything that is blue and underlined is a hyperlink where you can drill down. And we'll be showing some of those reports live as well during this webinar. And another big benefit of Inspect is that it's a commercial off-the-shelf product. So it has a full support team, it has a development team, implementation teams, and it's not something that we see a lot actually by existing customers where we came in, that there is something developed in-house, one or two people know about it. If they leave the company or go into retirement, then all the knowledge is gone and the system is not supportable anymore. Inspect has been around for 20-25 years, and we have quite a big team who can implement and train and support the product. So before I carry on, Tom, do we already have any questions from the attendees?
We do have one that's come through. Can actions be configured to take place when checklist questions are answered incorrectly?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I mentioned it briefly. When we show a question, we can do multiple actions. I've mentioned that we can create a defect automatically. We can also do validation. So based on the type of question, for example, if it's a text question, we can do a validation on the text being entered. If it's a numeric question, we can do a validation on the value entered in two ranges, a reasonable limit and a specification limit. And if the question is outside of the validation or outside of the specification limit, we can show a customizable warning to the operator so that the operator knows what to do. As I said, we can create the defect automatically as well. Yep. Thank you for the question.
All right, that's it for the questions for now.
Thank you, Tom. Please keep them coming. The more questions, the better. So before we go to the demo, this is just a couple of screenshots of the key functionality of Inspect. So when we talk about replacing paperless, of course, we think about questions like is shown here on the background, but a lot of the times it's also about capturing defects on a location. So here we have an example of a CAD model where we can enter defects. We have an example of a screen where we can answer questions. And this is an example of the screen of a 2D inspection image where we show the heat map of the defects. And additionally, we can, as I said, we can integrate with a lot of test equipment. Here is an example where we integrate with a cognitive system, where the system automatically finds defects, and we get that information, and we can then map that on a heat map. And before I go to the live demo, something that is not being done a lot, but what we see as a huge potential is that we can actually combine process data and quality data. As I mentioned, we have ATS Plus for integration, and we can integrate with a lot of existing digital systems and equipment that you have. So what we have here is an example of a report that we built with CM4D, which is another product that we have in the ADOS suite, where we can combine a lot of the data, and we can create, as you can see here, I hope it's readable on your screen as well, a correlation between the process parameters and the quality data, and that can actually help you to get warnings when certain key process parameters are almost going out of the range where we know that it will cause defects. And the way we do that is shown here. We can collect attribute data, for example, with Inspect. We can collect the dimensional data that can be done with Inspect or CM4D. We can collect the process data from all sorts of machines, depending on the integration or outputs options of the machines. It can either go straight into CM4D, or we can integrate with ATS Plus, which then can transforms the data in a way that it is readable for CM4D, and then we can create all sorts of reports, either PDF or interactive reports. So I'll be going to the live demo. I'll be showing all of the functionality that we have, or I'll try to in the time available. So basically what we can do is we can do inspections. We can capture the repair actions as well. We can do a repair buy-off or a validation of the repairs done. For all those actions, we have full traceability as to who did it, where and when, and what they've done exactly. Based on the data entered in any of these three processes, we can send out alarms, depending on a lot of parameters, so that we don't flood people's inboxes, but actually only send alarms where it's useful. We can do the ship, no ship. We can do audits as well, completely separated from the inspection. It can be done in the same application, but it's a different setup. And we can do the audits as extensive as you need, asking for a lot of additional information. The integration with the automated testing devices, the reports, as I've shown, full traceability, and the option check. So in the presentation that is actually shared as a handout, we have some slides about all of the functionality. But I'll actually show that in the live demo. So what I'll be showing is the inspection, the repair actions. I'll be showing the confirmation of the repairs, how to do the option check, and other checklist functionality. We'll take a look at the reporting. As is shown here, all the reporting is based on Microsoft SSRS. So if you have people in-house that are good in SQL, it is quite easy to actually extend the reports or even build your custom reports based on the data that we have available. I don't think I can show any of the alarming in the system that I'm using today, but we can take a look at the screenshots like here. So as I said, we can send out alarms. Maybe if the time allows, I can show some of the parameters that might be useful. We can feedback to the point of origin. So what we see at existing customers is that they actually use the reports to show the data on the shop floor to see what kind of defects were found caused by their area. The way we can do that is that in Inspect, when an operator enters a defect, they can choose a responsible area, and we can use that data to actually show on the area where the defect was caused, to show them what kind of defects they have caused in either in the current shift or in the previous shift. And that should help them to really quickly make an adjustment in the way they assemble the products or the way they do a production, to make sure that those defects are not being caused anymore. We have full traceability, so we know exactly where a specific serial number has been. For example, if it's been through a repair loop, or if it just went through a normal assembly process. We can even see if it went through a loop one time or multiple times. And if there's a criteria that a unit can only go through a rework area 3 times, then we can give a warning as well if it comes there for the 4th time, or even tell the conveyor belt system that it should go to a scrap pile. The automated testing, the integration I've highlighted already, that's here. The shop floor integration, a couple of nice examples here of how we can use ATS Bus to integrate with all sorts of equipment, PLCs, MQTT, and many more. The audit functionality shown here with a screenshot. So we can pick a specific audit type, a revision, and then based on the selection, it's going to ask for all sorts of additional audit information as configured by the system administrator. The ship no ship functionality, I can show that in the demo. And here are some customers that we currently have in all sorts of industries. So let me close the presentation and go to the VM that I have prepared for the demo. So what we're looking at here is data collect. That is the operator interface. The look and feel is completely customizable by the system administrator. And what we have here is quite a complex setup, showing a lot of options that we have. The operator can sign in either with a user code or a username and password, or they could swipe a barcode or scan a RFID badge and sign in that way. And what we're doing more and more is integrating with facial recognition and sign in that way. And from there, based on the integration, the operator can either pick a serial number from a queue, type or scan in the serial number here. We can get a serial number from a barcode scanner that is in line, or depending on the process, we can configure a screen like this where the operator can either type in a serial number or scan it in, pick a product, and start the inspection that way. So also there is a lot of flexibility. For this product that I've just created for the demo, I have some production data. It's a new product, so I don't have any defects at the moment in the system. I have some lookup information, so I know it's been ordered with a multimedia option B. The exterior color should be white and interior green. It's for a US customer, and there is a option code here as well. So that's all data that I can use in the checklists to actually validate the answers. And let's start with the checklist actually. So what we have here is quite an extensive list of questions, various questions with the icons shown here. I know what kind of question it is. So it's either a multiple choice, a numeric question, a text question. We have time and a date question as well as a possibility. And the multiple choice questions can be as simple as yes, no. The hinges are not loose. We can ask for a numeric value just by showing a couple of predefined values. We can show images as well on the multiple choice questions. And here, for example, is a spec check question where I'm asking which air filter package is installed. The operator looks what is installed, chooses an option, and this is actually the wrong part. So it tells the operator to replace it in line. Let's not do that. Let's just force the save of a false answer. And then that is stored in the reporting that we can take a look at later on. It's asking me for a torque reading. So let's say 1.5. There we go. And that is out of specification. Since it's below specification, it gives me a warning what the torque specification should be. So I can actually adjust it in line as an operator. And continue on. The fin plate is there. Here I'm asking for traceability data, so I can actually store all sorts of traceability data of components that are being used in a production process. So here I'm asking for the serial number of the engine and an airbag. I don't have any here, so this is not a valid serial number. It does a validation as well. But let's just continue. Same here for the airbag. It's not an airbag. And well, etc., etc. We have just a lot of questions here. So the questions are categorized. We have an icon showing if a question is mandatory, so that's a way that we can highlight key questions, and we can use that in the go no go decision as well, in the gatekeeper functionality that I mentioned, to, for example, only look at the mandatory questions. What can be done as well for the questions while answering them? The operator can type in a comment, so they can type in any comment here. They can take a picture. I don't have a webcam connected, but if they are using, for example, a tablet, they could use the built-in camera, take a picture of what they've seen that is not correct, and store that in a database. As an example, I can also get the images from a specific folder on the device. So that's what I can do here. And let's say that I found an issue in the interior. I'll do a quick markup of the issue that I found. Let's say that there is an issue over there. I'll save that, and as soon as I answer my question, that is all stored in the database. So I can see that there is a defect attached, or a image attached to this question, and that is available in reporting as well. And if I now go to my overview section, I already have one defect on this vehicle. So at the start, it had no defects. So this defect is created by answering a question with the wrong answer. So that was the question about the air filter. And this is one way that we can actually enforce a repair person to actually fix the issue found. So I'll get back to that later on. So to move to the visual inspection part, we can do the visual inspection with 2D images, with CAD files. So let's start with a 2D image, for example, this one. And if I enter a defect on an exact location, all I have to do as an operator is click on the screen, either using a mouse or a touchscreen, based on the components that I click on. So right now I clicked on the fender. It shows me a list of concerns that is all configurable per component, per part. And I have 3 concerns that are the most common concerns, and those are pins, or what we call a top concern. And these always show in a specific order. From there, it shows in an alphabetical order. And on the concerns, on the defects, we can show an image like here. we can show spec sheets or manuals, as I've mentioned in the business benefits section of the presentation. And all the operator has to do is click on the icon there, and then it shows the applicable documents here. So in this case, it's just a couple of examples of what is an air bubble. The operator can open it, can take a look, and then close it again. It can be really any type of document, as long as there is software installed on the client that can open that kind of document. So in this case, it's a picture, and it opens automatically in Paint. It could be a PDF, it could be even a movie or a link to a intranet website. Really any type of information, any type of document. So let's enter a defect. So I've chosen dent. From there, the following two screens are optional. It depends on how much time you want the operator to spend on entering defects, how knowledgeable they are, of course, and well, in the end, how much time is available. So in this case, I'm asking for the rank. The default rank for the dent on the fender is set to minor in the system. I can change that to, let's say it's a major issue in this case. And as an operator, again, optionally, we can hide the screen. They can choose the responsible area cell. Basically, what the operator can do here is tell the system where he or she thinks the defect was caused. So in this case, let's say that it was probably caused in assembly in the chassis 1 line. And then it goes to the command screen. So if we hide rank and responsible area cell, then the operator will get straight here after choosing a defect. Like with the question, the operator can type any comment here. They can, just like with a question, use the camera to make a picture. So let's do that again here. And go back here. So we have an optional field here to add additional information. At the moment, we are asking for a track number, but this is completely customizable to capture additional information if you need that. We can set a quantity. So if there are multiple similar defects close to each other, let's say that I don't have one dent there, but I have 5 small dents, I can put the number 5 here to save a lot of time of the operator. And we have the option of a recurring quantity as well. These all can be hidden, by the way, in the customization of the screen. So if it's not useful, then it will not clutter the screen. But what the recurring quantity does is, if I set this to 5, for example, it will automatically create this exact defect for the next 5 products of the same type that I'm inspecting. So I'm inspecting the product auto at the moment, and if I do a new inspection, or for the next 5 inspection, it's going to create the exact same defect. This can be a really big time saver if you are doing inspections on batches of, for example, supplied parts, and the supplier has informed you that all of the items in the batch have a specific issue. And that's a really quick way to handle that. So just to show you how the flow would be if we do this like a normal operator, it can be really quickly, and they can skip a lot of options as well. So if they just choose an issue, a concern, and then from there the save button is already enabled, and it saves with the default rank and responsible area cell. Additionally, we can create a defect that we call a marked area. So if the operator enables this option here, my icon changes to a pencil. I can create a marked area as such. Then again, I have the same concerns, and it creates the marked area, so it just shows that it's not a pinpoint issue, but it's a larger issue. So that's basically how the operator can do the inspection on a 2D picture. On a CAD model, it works the same. The main difference is that with the CAD model, you don't need multiple pictures to do an inspection of the back and front. To help the operator, we've added something that we call bookmarks to automatically rotate to, by the administrator, predefined views. So I can do an inspection of the back really easy. I can go to the front and enter a defect here. And as you might notice, the arrow also sort of shows how the orientation of the surface is. So the arrow is always 90 degrees from the surface. And that's how that works. So let me show the knuckle view as well. I think this has a little bit more bookmarks. Yep. So it always starts with the first bookmark, and then this is also a way that you can sort of guide the operator to look at the product in a certain way, in a certain order. And the operator can rotate it freely if he or she wants. Zoom in, for example, if there is an issue there in the hole. There we go. Might be zoomed in a little bit too much. And I can go back to zoom fit, or I can just use a bookmark to restore to a predefined view. And here the same applies. The operator can add an image and a comment to the defect. That all works exactly the same as with the 2D inspection. And besides that, we have the option to create defects based on text buttons. So we see existing customers doing that in two ways, either organizing all of the parts alphabetically. So for example, here on the air filter, I can create a defect that it's missing. Or if I go to engine parts, that's a bad example. If I go to battery components, here I have some battery components and the battery cable is loose. And that is a major issue. Save. So a lot of ways for the operator to actually enter defects. The text button option is a quick way to start using the system without creating a lot of views. Or it can also help to allow the operator to create defects on very small components that are very hard to pinpoint on either a 2D picture or on a CAD model. The benefit of using this to use the system really quickly sort of went away when we started supporting the CAD models. Reason being that if you do an inspection on a picture like this, you have to outline the components in one of the admin modules and tell the system where is a fender and where is a quarter panel. In the CAD model, depending on the way the CAD models are created and are exported from your CAD software, we can actually get the component information embedded in the CAD model. So as soon as we import a model, we can know exactly which name a component has. So if you look here in the bottom left corner, when I hover over this component, it changes the part location when I change to a different location of the part, and that's all information that was embedded in the CAD model. And that way you can go from importing a model to doing inspection in somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes. So it's really, really easy to set up a system that way. So by creating all those defects in my overview section as a repair person, I can see exactly which components have an issue, what the issue is. I can see the severity of the issue, the rank. I can see when the issue was found, at which station, by which user. This is all available in the reporting as well, of course. And as a repair person, I can say for the air filter, it was the wrong type. So I can say I have done a remove and install new, install the proper one. And for the next one, I can say reshape. The repair person can actually change the responsible area cell again. Maybe the repair person has a better knowledge of all the processes that are on the shop floor and has a better way of choosing that. The repair person can say it took me 15 minutes. We can make this mandatory as well. So if the value is 0, they will get a yellow screen telling them to actually enter the repair time, and only when they've done, the save button is enabled. In the background, we can tell the system what the hourly cost is of a repair person, and that way, combined with the cost of a part, we can actually calculate the cost of bad quality and see which components and which defects are the most expensive for you in the end. So I can do repairs as well. You might have already noticed, but also for the repairs, I can add images and comments. And from there, a person who has validation rights can come in, or maybe the validator has a dedicated tablet, and they can validate the issues found. So here under this column, we can see the status of all the defects. The one that I haven't touched yet, they're all 1/4 filled red, meaning that it's an open defect. The defect has been entered by the operator, but no action has been done. Once a repair is done and completed, the repair line goes to half green and the defect goes to 3/4 green, meaning that the defect has been repaired, but it has not been conformed yet or validated. That is a completely optional step. It depends if that's useful for you as a customer for the industry. But it is something that the system supports. So the way that works is if an operator is signed in with the appropriate rights, they can click on the confirmation button, and it changes the repair to fully green and the repair as well. And the go no go functionality, I can show that here. So usually that would be done by integrating with, for example, the conveyor belt or another system, but for demo purposes, I can show that here on the screen. When I click on this button, I can force the go no go check, and in this case there are open defects, which is correct. I can check for open defects, I can check for open defects or open wrong answers, and that's all configurable in the backend as well. So if I go to another product, I think for this one I have answered all the questions and have no open defects. I have open defects for this one. So if I delete all these, which is a right that I have as a supervisor, but normally the people on the shop floor would not have that right to delete defects. The checklist is fully filled in, so then when I do my gatekeeper check, it's green, and it allows me to move this specific serial number on to the next stage. We have a couple of minutes left, so let me show some of the reports. We have a reporting portal solution where we can not only show the inspect reports, but reports from multiple sources. SSRS, Power BI, Tableau, and for example, the concern ranking. If I look at the data for this year, then I can see this year I've had a lot of issues where there was out of tolerance data coming from CM4D. cracked through part had 11 issues. I can drill down on that one. And I can see that there were defects on this component and this component. And from there, I can drill down even further, see if there was a location. Maybe there was a left location or a right. In this case, the location was exterior front for all 9. And if I drill down on the number 9, which I can do in any stage, I can see when the defect was found. I can see the product name, I can see the severity, I can see the exact issue found, and I can drill down to the serial number as well, which I will show here. That would bring me to the single unit history, where I have one serial number prepared. That is here, yeah. So if I close that one, it gives me a bit more space. So here I can see a lot of basic information in the single unit history report. I can see that there is a relation between this car and an airbag and an engine that have a serial number as well, and those have been inspected by Inspect prior, so I can actually go to that serial number as well. I have a bit of lookup information that comes from an external system. I can see which when the inspections have been done. I can see where and by who. I can see how many defects have been found and how many repairs have been done. I can see the status of the defects, and per defect, I can see exactly what was done, when, where, and by who. So for defect number 1, the gray section is all the defect information. The yellow section is the repair information, and the green section is the validation information. And it also has full traceability of all of the checklist data. So I can see all of the checklist results. I can see when it was answered and by who. I can see the actual answers. I can see if the answer was a correct answer or a false answer. And yeah, we have a lot more reports to show useful information. For example, the first time quality. If I pick last year and I see what is there, I need to fill in one more field. I want to see the percentage. Okay. And there we go. For all my products for the last year, this was my percentage. Okay. And we can differentiate between quality and yield. So here you can use the ranks. So maybe there is a severity, a rank of a defect, where a defect is being found, but it will not be visible to the end customer. So that's a rank that you could, for example, take out of the first time yields, run the report, and then there could be a difference, as we can see here, in the first time quality and the first time yields, where the first time yield is typically higher, because we can still ship products to a customer because they won't notice the defect, but there was a defect found anyway. So that's just a couple of examples of the reports, but as I said, we have 80 reports and not enough time to show even 10% of those. I think we're pretty close to the hour. Tom, do you have any more questions?
Yes, we do have a couple. The first is, will it interface with our ERP application? We have SAP.
Yeah, it can. With ATS Bus, we can integrate also with SAP. We can receive all the relevant data and also send back defect data or unit status data if needed.
Right. The next one, how do you handle operators working in multiple languages?
Oh, good question. I completely forgot to mention that. Yeah, the system is a multi-language, so the operator interface can be translated, and the the actual runtime data is depending on the language of the user. So if I sign in as a Spanish user, I think I have that in the system. No, Spanish, yeah. Then it translates all the runtime data automatically, and the actual user interface depends on the station that is started. So we could translate this in the admin module and create a Spanish user interface, or German or French, or any language really.
Okay, and the last one here, can we integrate data across multiple plants and from suppliers?
Yeah, we can. Yep. It depends a little bit on the connectivity of the plants. If there is a good connection, maybe it could all be done in a single database. It's technically possible, but it really depends on having a very stable connection. We are working on a reporting solution that we don't have live at the moment, but where we can pull in data from multiple installations of Inspect into a single reporting solution and combine the data from multiple plants and suppliers as well in that case.
Okay, and that is all the questions for now.
Good, thank you. If anybody who had a question would like to get more information, you can always drop me an email or give me a call. My contact details are on the screen, and they are also in the presentation that has been shared as a handout in the webinar. We will be sending a follow-up email later on. I don't know what the time frame is, but as an attachment, we will add the PDF as well. So that way you can always find my contact details. If you have any questions, anything you would like to get more clarity on, please do not hesitate to contact me, and I'm happy to follow up on that. Good. Anything else, Tom? I guess that's a no. All right, then I would like to thank everybody for their time. And until the next time, thank you.